Yo, what's up, guys? We're back for another breakdown and predictions video. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy this video. Hit the like button right quick. Put a comment down below. Tell me who's your most confident pick, who you're liking on this card. I would really appreciate the engagement. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. I do UFC predictions for every single UFC card, and I will do some other promotions at times as well. And on top of that, if you want access to weekly breakdowns for other promotions, betting packages, and other things as well, go to patreon.com/PredictionGuru. The link is going to be in the description. You can join now and get access to a lot of good stuff over there and help the channel keep going and putting out videos like this. So really appreciate everyone that goes over there and checks that out. And man, this week we got UFC Nashville, Derrick versus Tallison Teixeira in the main event. We're going to break down every single fight on the card. So let's get into it, man. And the first fight of the night, we got Betmma Klein. She's going to be taking on Melissa Martinez, and she's a gigantic favorite, Betmma Klein. I mean, you look at the odds, I think she's even higher than minus 1,200 at this point. So, having said that, there's really not much you could do with the fight from a betting perspective, unless you think Betmma Klein is going to finish this fight inside the distance, and even at that point, it's still a little juiced. But Betmma Klein is a huge favorite for a reason. You look at Melissa Martinez, kind of a lackluster performance, even though she got the win coming off of a layoff in her last fight. And just, there's not enough to be confident in her against an opponent like Betmma Klein, a big grappler that has serviceable stand-up, trains with Erin Blanchfield. Melissa Martinez, good karate fighter, can bounce in and out, nice kicks. But you'd think that the fact that Klein is going to be looking to get the fight to the ground so much could mitigate a lot of the kicking game for Melissa Martinez. She could struggle to want to throw kicks and be active in that manner. So therefore, it could kind of stymie a lot of her striking game. And then on top of that, when you're looking at Betmma Klein, her only loss in the UFC currently is to Jasmine Jasudavicius, who's kind of in the running for a title shot at 125 pounds. She's right in the mix at this point, and Betmma got out-grappled by her, but there's not going to be many people in her weight class that can out-grapple her. She's a big fighter for the weight. She's very skillful on the ground. She has good ground and pound. She has good grappling, and I just believe that if she can get on top, she's probably going to be able to finish Martinez, you would imagine. But the thing is, I haven't seen Martinez off of her back at all. Her takedown defense looks serviceable, so it's a little hard to say exactly how she's going to look on her back. But Betmma Klein, relentless, good ground and pound. I think that she could probably use the size, wear down Martinez. Maybe Martinez will come in really scrambly, throwing some nice kicks, being dangerous early. But I think as the fight continues, Betmma is going to make her less and less dangerous, and then probably finish her late round 2, round 3 on the ground. So Betmma Klein for me is the big favorite for a reason, and I'll say she does get that finish inside the distance. And up next, we got another gigantic favorite with Mike Davis being a minus 1,000 favorite over Mitch Ramirez. So another fight where it's hard to do anything with the money line unless you're going to take a stab on the underdog. But from a stylistic perspective here, Mike Davis, really bad performance in his last fight. I know he said that he had some issues because there was paint on the walls in Saudi Arabia, I believe, or wherever they were fighting, and maybe it impacted him, the fumes or whatever. But pulled guard like within the first 10 seconds of the fight. Didn't seem like he wanted to be in there, and kind of just used his grappling to take the least amount of damage and survive to a decision loss, which snapped the win streak for him. And it just wasn't a good look, because there's previous comments with Mike Davis where he's talking about he doesn't really like fighting. He uses it for lifestyle purposes, and maybe if it's a certain night he doesn't want to be in there, he's going to have another performance like that, and Mitch Ramirez could get a UFC win. But on the flip side with Mitch Ramirez, he's had a Contender Series fight, didn't go his way, didn't look very good. He got finished by Carlos Prates. Then he fought Thiago Moises in the UFC and got finished once again. So he's got his back against the wall here. He needs to have a good performance. He can't get just stopped and absolutely dominated here and expect to have another fight in the UFC. But you look at the odds, and there's not many people that are thinking he's going to be too competitive here. Mike Davis, the guy has good boxing. He'll stand his ground, and he's dangerous in the pocket. He'll throw decent combinations, but his defense is his offense, and if you could back him up and kind of flurry on him and find the chin, he will start to wrestle you, and he has good wrestling, good grappling. I feel like he's actually a better grappler than he is a striker, but when he does grapple and he can't be dominant, if you make him work, you get back up to your feet, you're scrambly, he will start to get tired, and then you can start to exploit that. So I think Davis is very skilled, but he could mentally break in there a little bit. Mitch Ramirez, he's a guy that comes forward, throws bombs, tries to slowly back you up, but he's very flat-footed. I think Mike Davis is going to go to work with leg kicks and jabs, but if Ramirez can back up Davis and flurry with the hooks, he has power. He will throw hooks in numbers, so you have to kind of defend, and then he'll try to duck under and take you down. And okay wrestling. I mean, he was able to take down Carlos Prates, but defensive wrestling isn't good for him, and his leg kick defense has been very exploited in his his Contender Series and his UFC debut, so that's something that people have seen and have been able to take advantage of. And it's just a levels fight for me. I think Mike Davis is on another level. Probably going to be able to get a dominant victory. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes all 15 minutes, but I just don't see Mike Davis losing unless he just really has a horrible performance. So give me Mike Davis to get the victory in this fight. And this next one, we got an interesting fight in the heavyweight division, and you don't get to say that a lot nowadays. I feel like heavyweight is really on a low right now. It's good that they're finally going to get the division moving again, but Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Walter Walker, two guys that are not in the rankings, but I believe they're kind of more skillful fighters for heavyweight than many of the other guys. You look at Walter Walker, obviously he's not good on the feet. He's very stiff, and he has improved his footwork. I feel like he's gotten better at bouncing in and out and being a little bit faster, but when he tries to throw punches, he's just not very fast, kind of ugly striking, but he's a specialist. He has very good wrestling. He could take you down. He's strong. He could hold you down. His cardio is decent, especially when he can have some time to control on top. And recently he's been getting better at getting finishes on the ground. He's gotten 2 heel hooks in a row. So at the end of the day, he's starting to attack with some submissions. And if he could even get a baseline level of, a few go-tos in the UFC at heavyweight, you could probably submit a lot of guys with just a couple go-to submissions that you're really good at finishing. And obviously it looks like the heel hook is going to be one of them for Walter Walker, but he's running into a guy that's a former light heavyweight, so he's going to be a little bit more agile, a little more athletic, probably a little more skilled. And then Kennedy has the frame. He's very tall, long, lanky, and on top of that, he is pretty strong and big. It's not like he's a super skinny guy. And on the feet, he's going to have a big advantage, especially on the inside in the clinch. That's where Walker's going to have to be a little careful. If he shoots in and Kennedy could stuff it, he has to come up and try to go body to body. Kennedy's going to be throwing knees, trying to create separation, land elbows. And at range, he's going to have the kicks and the hand speed. I think Kennedy has to pressure, try to force bad takedowns, look to bring up knees up the middle, elbows, uppercuts, and just try to use your superior speed and striking. And obviously for Walter, he's going to be trying to get it to the ground, but Kennedy's done well against wrestling opponents. I think guys with more explosive and better wrestling than Walter. Walter obviously is going to be bigger, stronger than probably almost anyone that Kennedy's fought that's going to try to wrestle him. So it's going to be difficult, but I think Kennedy probably could keep it upright for the most part. And I like that he's been doing a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments and grappling, and that is going to help him if he does get taken down to at least stay calm, not get finished, and maybe even be able to get back up to his feet or threaten with something himself. But on the flip side with that, hopefully he does not play the jiu-jitsu game and stay on bottom if he does get taken down and lose the fight in that manner. So it's a give and take there, but I think that Kennedy, he's going to have good enough coaches to kind of hopefully bring him in the right way with that. And at the end of the day, I think skills pay the bills. He's going to be the more skillful guy in terms of all-around MMA. And because of that, I think Kennedy is going to be able to find the finish at some point. So give me Kennedy Nzechukwu via finish. I'll say second round TKO. And up next here with Lauren Murphy versus Eduardo Mora. We got an interesting fight here. I feel like Lauren Murphy is a live underdog, but could be kind of a fool's gold proposition if you're going better. So it's a tricky one, but when you're looking at it, Lauren Murphy, obviously she is coming back off of a long layoff, off of a retirement, and she's, I believe, 41, 42 years old. So one of the most tenured female fighters on the roster, and this is going to be her final fight. She's officially said that. She made it when she was fighting all the way to a title fight. She was a very underrated fighter in her time, but she left the sport with that pretty dominant loss to Jessica Andrade and didn't look good against Valentina either. So she's going to have to summon it up and kind of bring back her old self for this one, where she's going to take on Eduardo Mora, who moved up to 125 and got back in the win column after her first career loss. She beat Veronica Hardy. She snapped her win streak, and she's trying to get that momentum again. Now she's going to fight a, like I said, former title challenger, someone with a pretty big name in the division. And if she can get the jump on Lauren Murphy, then we could see her potentially in a top 10 fight in her next one. So even though Murphy isn't ranked, it's a good opportunity for Mora. And for Lauren Murphy, it's just a chance to show that she could compete against Mora's not the youngest. She's 31. So even though she's 10 years younger than Murphy, it's a little bit more. It's not like she's fighting someone that's like 23 years old. But at the end of the day, a more in-prime fighter. We'll see if Lauren Murphy can compete with them. But you look at it from a stylistic perspective, on the feet, I think Murphy's not a great striker, but she has decent boxing. She'll throw punches and bunches. Mora, maybe a little more fluid, and she's longer, and she'll throw nice straight shots. But if this stays standing, it's probably going to be competitive. And then I do think that Lauren Murphy is going to be a very difficult takedown. It's not like throughout her career she hasn't been known to get her own takedowns and be very physically strong. And she's beaten wrestlers like Miesha Tate and shut down her wrestling. So I think that she probably could stuff that single leg from Mora. Mora really uses those long arms to go single, and then if she can't get the single, she'll go to the back. And I could see an early submission win for Mora, or maybe get the back and flatten her out and ground and pound her. But if she doesn't finish her in the first round, it's probably going to become a more and more difficult fight for her as the rounds continue. Because if Murphy's in good shape, she has been training in Colorado for a while, she is going to be a dog out there and really try to push the pace, be aggressive, I believe. Gas Mora, where we saw in her one loss, she got tired, started shooting bad takedowns. It was bad optics for the judges, and that cost her the decision. If Murphy could sprawl out, get on top, maybe that could be something that Murphy could do effectively as well. But on the feet, if Mora is just calm and believes in her striking, I think she could compete in the stand-up and be pretty comparable to Murphy, and probably slightly edge her just because she's been fighting more often. She has that rhythm right off the bat. I feel like she's going to have the timing better. She's a little bit faster, a little younger, a little longer. And I think that she can mix in a couple takedowns and probably steal the decision in that manner. So I do lean Mora, but I don't trust her at the odds. And I do think that a good performance from Murphy could make it a really close fight. And at the end of the day, I think Murphy, if she could stuff the takedown and it's only striking, I don't think that Mora is going to justify that price tag. So there's reasons for me to like Murphy, but at the end of the day, I'm going to kind of cower it out, and my prediction is going to be Eduardo Mora via decision. And with the next fight, we got Jake Matthews versus Chidi Njokuani. Good fight, underrated fight, two veterans. It's an interesting veteran matchup, though, because you got Jake Matthews, who's kind of a young vet. He's been in the UFC for longer than Chidi. He has way more UFC fights, but Chidi has been in the fight game. He fought in Bellator before he came to the UFC, and he's, I believe, 38 years old. Jake is 31. And they've both been looking really good recently. I mean, Jake Matthews, he got the win once again in his last fight. He, I believe, it was even, or he was like a slight underdog, and he was able to get the job done versus Prado. and he beat Phil Rowe before that, so he's on a nice little streak. And then you look at Chidi, he's undefeated since moving to welterweight, got the win over Alessio Zaleski dos Santos in his last fight, where anyone that can get the nod over Zaleski, hardcore fans know that's a great victory. And the one thing that you could kind of discredit him with is he did miss weight for his last fight, so he has to get that in check for this one. Hopefully he doesn't miss weight twice in a row, because he obviously is a guy that's coming down from 185, a little older. You know that weight cut is hard, so if he misses weight again, even if he wins, he could be on a 5-fight win streak at 170 and be forced up to 185. So hopefully he could get that right. But when you look at it from a matchup perspective, it's a very good fight, because Jake Matthews, you look at all of his losses, or the majority of his losses, he's getting out-grappled. He's actually someone that I think got the wrong description on him as a fighter at this point, because earlier in his career, when he was younger, he relied way more on the black belt, on the wrestling. When he was at 155, he was the bigger guy. He would take people down. He would maul them. He'd submit them. And he did it at 170 a couple times too, like with the Leech, where, if you guys remember that fight, the Leech was going all out on that one. But yeah, more recently, though, Jake Matthews has turned more into a boxer. He's someone that wants to pressure you, stay right at the void, slip and rip you with big power hooks. He is very fast. He throws nice combinations. He'll go body, he'll go head, and very high volume, very solid striker, and his leg kicks are good too. But one thing with Jake is sometimes he will run into straight shots. I think that Chidi should try to throw those straight elbows down the middle, try to catch them. And I believe that in boxing range, Jake is going to have the advantage. He has better boxing, but at distance, Chidi is going to have the kicking edge. And then in the inside, I think Chidi has the edge with the clinch, the elbows, the knees. I don't really see Jake wrestling and winning a 3-round decision with wrestling. He hasn't done that in so long. And Chidi's gotten a lot better with his wrestling defense. He's proven that he's not someone that's easy to do that to anymore. So Jake, he's super durable. I mean, that's one thing that's throwing me off too, because Chidi, usually when he wins fights, he normally is a finisher. And Jake Matthews, the guy's super hard to finish with strikes. So if he could extend the fight and get Chidi really tired, maybe he could dog it out at the end. But ultimately, I just believe Chidi is the better striker. I think he could either bank 2 rounds or become the first guy to knock out Jake Matthews. And I'm not super clear on how I think the fights can end method-wise. I don't know if Chidi's going to knock him out or decision him. But I'm going to say Chidi gets the victory regardless. And closing out the prelims, we got another veteran fight between Max Griffin and Chris Curtis. This is a good one, man. It's going to be a striking battle. You know, both these guys are going to more than likely keep it standing and try to bang it out. Maybe Max Griffin will go for takedowns if he starts to get in trouble a little bit, but I don't see Chris shooting at all, and I don't think Max is going to have any success with the wrestling. I think he's going to be forced to keep it striking, even if he wants to take it to the ground. And how these guys match up on the feet, man, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Max Griffin, the guy's powerful. He has nice straight punches, good footwork, good movement. He'll switch stance, try to pull you into power shots. But I just feel like Chris is way too tight for him, man. I don't see how Chris loses this fight. I know he's going down to 170. That does make me a little worried. Like, maybe he just will not pull the trigger and be extremely slow, and Max could just dance around him a little bit. But I feel like Max Griffin, he has to close that distance. He's willing to get wild and go brawl in there. And he's just the less durable guy. I feel like Curtis is going to be patient. He's going to be the guy that uses less energy. He's going to have more cardio down the stretch. He's going to go to the body. He's going to go to the head. And I think that Chris is just going to be able to find the better shots, cleaner punches, land harder, defend the takedowns. I think Max is going to maybe start out pretty well, like a lot of Chris Curtis opponents, but once Chris gets that rhythm, gets the beat on what he's doing, I think he's going to start to be able to counter him as he's coming in, go to the body, maybe start walking down Max a little bit, and we're going to see Max get tired, start to absorb damage, and maybe get stopped or, weather his way to a decision, but losing the decision. Roman Kopylov, it looked like that style was working for Curtis in his last fight. He was wearing down Kopylov, but Kopylov was able to dog it out and finish him in the third. I just don't think that Max Griffin is going to be that guy in the same way. Chris is getting up there in age. He is dropping down in weight. I mean, maybe it's going to be a bad decision, and Max Griffin will capitalize and defeat him because of this. But ultimately, I think if Chris Curtis can't beat a Max Griffin, what is he doing at this point in his career? He has to get this win, and we'll see what he can do at 170 from there. But I think he beats Max Griffin, and I think he'll beat him probably pretty easily, 29-28 or second, third round KO. And kicking off the main card, we got a light heavyweight fight between Junior Tafa and Tuco Tokos. Junior Tafa, he got himself in shape. He's dropping down to 205. And props to him, man. I mean, the guy is a young guy. He's still only 25 years old, so has a ton of time to continue to evolve, get better, and I think that this is going to be his optimal weight class. Obviously, Tafa, he had the one fight with Marcos Rogerio de Lima where he kind of showed that maybe his striking isn't the elite of the elite. He got leg kicked, but he's someone that wants to sit at the edge of the edge of range, counter you with straight shots with check hooks. He's very fast, really crisp, pretty accurate. He has nice kicks in his own right. He has a kickboxing background, and then he just has that, Pacific Islander kind of durability where he could absorb damage, and then when he lands on you, he's super heavy-handed and can put you out cold. So if you strike with him, it's very dangerous, and he's already proven that in the UFC with multiple knockout wins. But he's gotten taken down and controlled in fights and lost fights because of that. And I think moving down to 205 is going to help him in that regard. And I don't think his wrestling defense is horrendous. I mean, he has improved it. And Tuco Tokos, this guy got in the UFC because of a short notice opportunity. He fought Saudi BC on like 1 or 2 days notice, lost really quickly in that one, and then came back, had a hard fight where he showed toughness versus Navo Sterling. You could even argue, I believe he won the second round or one of those rounds where he got a takedown or two, but he ended up getting beat up and not finished, but losing the decision in that one. And he hasn't really won a fight in a long time. He got that win over Myron Dennis, but Dennis posted when he was defending a takedown. His arm broke really early in the fight, so I don't know how much you want to count that as a real victory. And then he had the 2 losses in the UFC, so he hasn't won a fight, I believe, since like 2021. I don't think he comes in the greatest shape. I think that he kind of was even surprised that he got into the UFC. Junior, he has to win this fight, man. I mean, the guy is dropping down to 205. Hopefully, he's taking it more serious. He has the striking pedigree. He's going to be the better striker by a mile here. And Tuco, the guy doesn't have good wrestling. I mean, his wrestling is super sloppy. He's tough. He could use his veteran savvy to kind of drag you to the mat, and then he's been able to submit a couple guys. You don't want to, if you're a junior, let him get you in a front choke position or take your back, because he does have decent submission game, but Junior should knock this guy out, man, unless he totally gasses. But at the end of the day, Junior Tafa was struggling with Sean Sharaf on really short notice. Not a guy you could be comfortable with trusted at a big price tag. I mean, that's why he's not even over minus 200. But if there's ever a fight you're going to bet on Junior Tafa, I think it's going to be this one, man. And I got Junior Tafa by knockout. And the next fight we got on the card, Vitor Petrino versus Austin Lane. Another similar fight to the last one where the UFC's, it seems like they're definitely trying to get Junior Tafa and Vitor Petrino back in the win column. They view them as kind of guys they could build and maybe do something with in the UFC, and they're giving them old guys that have been knocked out that don't really have a ton of value anymore, and they're saying, hey, beat these guys, stick around, and we'll do something with you. So Vitor, hopefully he could come through in that same way that I think that Junior's going to come through. But Austin Lane, I mean, he has been looking a little better in recent fights. You know, he got the win in the big upset over Rubelas de Spain, where he made it boring and just wrestled him, which was the only path to victory that he had, and he did it, so you can't blame him. And then his last fight versus Mario Pinto, he won the first round and then was doing okay in the second. Kind of, I believe, got overconfident and came in wild, reckless, got caught, knocked out, and that's been the issue with Austin Lane in his career. He gets tall, his chin goes in the air, and he gets put to sleep, and he's been knocked out, I believe, in almost all of his losses. He's a good athlete, and he's tall, he's big for the weight, and he's started to realize, okay, I could wrestle these lower-level guys, take them down, but Vitor Petrino, I believe, he's proven that he is at least decent wrestling, and he's coming up from light heavyweight, where I believe that those guys are going to have better wrestling than what he's going to see from Lane. And I think that on the feet, Vitor's just going to catch him at some point, even though I don't think Vitor has great stand-up either. He has that big left hook. He has the big right hands. He can explode on you. He's been able to catch guys and knock guys out that I think are higher level than Austin Lane. And I don't really have like a super technical breakdown on this one, but I just think Vitor at some point is going to find that chin, even if he's losing the fight or Austin Lane is looking good. However the fight's going, I still think at some point Vitor is going to get the knockout. And man, we got a great fight in this next one with Nate Landwehr. He's going to be fighting in his home state of Tennessee, taking on the Frenchman Morgan Charrier. And right there, that makes you want to bet on Nate Landwehr, right? You got a Frenchman coming to the United States to fight Nate the Train in his backyard. Man, you wouldn't think Nate the Train is going to let himself lose in this scenario, but it's a tough fight, and there's a reason why he's the underdog. I think both these guys did not look great in their last matchup, and I don't think that their last fight, and I don't think that Nate Landwehr looked great in 3 of his last 4 fights, really. I mean, the Ige fight, I didn't think he looked the best. I don't think he looked great when he fought his last fight, and even the other fight that he lost, that's kind of, I'm forgetting it right now, he didn't look the best in that one either. And he got the big knockout over Jamal Emmers, but I don't think he's going to knock out Charrier. Charrier's a very composed, durable guy. He did get rocked and dropped a couple times in his last fight, but he showed that he could recover really quickly. And, I mean, you look at this fight, right? I think both these guys, they're kind of similar in what they do. They like to pressure and then draw out counters and land on you. And then I think Morgan is the better wrestler. He could get takedowns. But Nate has proven that if you take him down, he's really good at getting back up to your feet, getting back up to his feet, negating damage, not getting submitted, getting you tired, and then coming back late. So you have to be in shape if you want to come with the wrestling game plan versus a guy like Nate Landwehr. But Morgan, I mean, that's one thing that he's never really had an issue with, is getting tired. The issues with Morgan is when he's not faster than his opponent, like his last fight with Nathaniel Wood. He was pressuring, he was trying to draw out the counters, and then he was trying to counter. Nate was in and out, landing his own shots, hurting Morgan, and Morgan got really gun-shy and wasn't really doing anything after he got dropped. But Nate, I don't think, has the speed advantage. Nate likes to shell up a lot. I think Morgan can go to the body pretty effectively. And I think Morgan can get takedowns if he comes in with the game plan to be smart, try to, draw out a brawl, stay sharp, stay technical. And then when you get Nate Landwehr excited, take him down and hold him down, or try to just win some minutes with some control. But Nate, if he makes this fight ugly, he finds Morgan's chin, he drops him a couple times, he definitely is a live underdog. I feel like on this card, there's not a lot of underdogs that I like. I think that Nate the Train is one that could get the job done, but I just think at the end of the day, he's too slow. Morgan is bigger, and I think Morgan is going to come in with a smart game plan and get the decision win over Nate Landwehr here. So, I got Morgan Charrier, but I think that Nate is a live underdog. And we got Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia in the feature fight of the night. Calvin Kattar came back from another lengthy layoff after the Aljamain Sterling fight when he fought Yusuf Zalal in his last one, took the loss there. I picked him in that fight, and I was tempted again, man. I was kind of looking for a reason to go with Calvin Kattar here, and I mean, it's hard for me to break down Steve Garcia. I don't really have a good read on the guy. It's like every one of his fights, it's a wild brawl, and then he finds the knockout. He has long arms, southpaw, and he's good at putting the combinations together, and he can come forward and just overwhelm you. He's dangerous at range and on the inside, so he's just a dynamic and aggressive striker that brings that violence. But you've seen him get dropped by guys like Shiley and Nerdy and Becky. You've seen him lose rounds getting held down. You've seen really bad losses on his record. So even though he's on this nice win streak currently, he's not really beating anybody. And the way that he wins sometimes isn't like, yeah, it's impressive, but you don't really see much. Like, he's either steamrolling a guy by just aggressively blitzing them early, or he's getting taken down and controlled, and then all of a sudden he turns it around and finishes you in one moment. So he's showing his danger factor, but he hasn't really shown that he can win minutes yet. And he hasn't shown, like, a lot of skills, but he gets the job done. The way that he's lost the majority of his losses are him getting body triangle backpack, because he does get wild. He'll overextend. You could take him down. You can get to his back, and if you could control him from there, you could kind of just bleed the clock and win the fight in that way. We saw even Luis Pena do that in the UFC. But I'm just thinking, like, is he going to be able to just walk down Calvin Kattar like that and bully him? And I do think Kattar is going to have opportunities. I mean, to land strikes as Steve Garcia is walking forward, to use the jab, find his range, and then come with a big straight or overhand and put it on him. Try to throw those elbows. And if he could find a shot early on Steve Garcia that puts him down, Calvin is a great finisher. But I watched the Shane Burgos fight. I went deep on this one. I went and watched a few other fights versus pressure fighters, and Calvin will shell. And Steve has super nice body shots, man. I feel like he could go to the body on Calvin, pressure him, throw combinations, and just overwhelm Calvin. He's going to be, I believe, the more durable guy that wants it more, is a little hungrier at this point in his career. And I don't know, man. I feel like Calvin could get the win here. Maybe Steve Garcia is a little overrated, but Calvin hasn't won a fight in a long time. He's had injuries, and I just think it's Steve Garcia's time. So give me Steve Garcia. I'll say second round KO TKO. And once again here, just like the last fight, we got a veteran taking on a streaking, up-and-coming younger guy with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson coming off that knockout loss to Joaquin Buckley. 42 years old, taking on Gabriel Bonfim, who just choked Chaos Williams to sleep and is a super dangerous guy. But you look at the one loss to on Gabriel Bonfim's record was to a 40-year-old, Nicholas Dalby, who was able to weather the storm and then get him out of there in the second round. But, I mean, I think this is a great matchup for Bonfim, man. I mean, Wonderboy on the feet, obviously, is going to be a problem, but I think if Bonfim could take down Stephen Wonderboy, especially in the middle of the cage, he's going to choke him out. He's probably going to finish him with the submission. Even on the feet, Wonderboy, reflex style, his durability is not what it once was whatsoever. I think that Bonfim can even catch him on the feet. If he gasses out trying to submit Wonderboy in the first round and Wonderboy's dancing on him and gets him tired and is able to beat him, I mean, man, that'd be a really impressive victory. But I think that Wonderboy is being brought in as cannon fodder for Bonfim in this one. And quick breakdown here, but I just think that Bonfim's going to get the submission win. I just think he's on another level at this point in their careers. Obviously, Wonderboy's a legend. In his prime, it would be different potentially, but at this point, I think Bonfim, first round submission here. Give me Gabriel Bonfim. I'll say he wins with the Darce. And last but not least, we got the main event between Derrick Lewis and Tallison Teixeira. And first of all, I'm pretty shocked they're giving Derrick Lewis another main event. I mean, this fight's like 50-50 if it's even going to happen, in my opinion. Derrick Lewis pulls out of more fights on fight day than anybody, man. He's always pulling out of fights. He did it his last one. UFC better hope that this main event goes on, man. But Derrick Lewis, he said he basically had to beg for a fight, and I get it, because obviously he's probably in the doghouse after that last one. But the guy is been with the company since 2014. He's been one of the most entertaining fighters, both on the mic and in the octagon. He has the most knockouts in UFC history. You can't deny his legendary status. And coming back after over a year off, I went back and looked. I think this is his longest layoff since before he joined the UFC. So he hasn't had a year off from fighting since he joined the UFC in 2014. He's fought at least once within every calendar year until now, and we'll see if that rejuvenates him at 40 years old, or he comes back and looks like a shell of himself, looks like he's coming in for a payday and gets steamrolled by this young guy. But he's taken on the youngest heavyweight on the roster in Tallison Teixeira, the 25-year-old Brazilian. This guy's a skyscraper. He's 6'8", and Teixeira, though, you look at who he's fought, who he's beaten, then you look at who Derrick Lewis has fought, who Derrick Lewis has beaten. I mean, Derrick Lewis has beaten guys like Francis Ngannou. He's in there beating people like Alexander Volkov and Curtis Blades. I mean, all these legendary names that he's gotten the jump on. And then you're looking at Tallison Teixeira. His best win is Junior Tafa. I mean, just last year, he's fighting on the LFA prelims. Now he's in the UFC main event, taking on one of the best heavyweights the UFC's had in a long time. I mean, huge step up, crazy step up, but he's a huge favorite. And to me, the line is off. I mean, I feel like it should be closer to a pick'em. I mean, I think Tallison should be the favorite just because he is skillful and big. He's composed. I like what I see from the guy. I'm not trying to hate on him, but it's just like he's never been out of the first round. We've never seen him on his back. We've never seen him rocked. There's so many things that we haven't seen from this guy, where we've seen Derrick Lewis in dead to rights positions where the fight's almost over. He's about to lose, and he pulls it out of the ashes, gets the win. We've seen him tired and get knockouts. We've seen him get early knockouts, and then we've seen bad moments from him. So we've seen everything from Derrick Lewis, and we know what we're going to get out of him. He's going to be a guy that's going to try to pull you into his power. He's going to lure you and explode. He got that crazy flying knee knockout early on Rogerio de Lima. And then he's, worked on the wrestling, man, honestly. He was taken down, Rodrigo Nascimento. He got a couple takedowns on him, and he got some top control. And his ground and pound is vicious. So, to me, that's what I would be scared of if I'm Teixeira. If you're clinched up with this guy, make sure he doesn't put you on your back. Because if he does, I think he has a chance to finish Teixeira in top position. But on the feet, I mean, Teixeira is the better striker. He's long, he's composed, he'll throw nice straight punches, he has nice elbows on the inside. But you saw him fight that wild guy on Contender Series, that little guy, and he was getting clipped with some big overhands and punches. So if Derrick Lewis could find those same shots, I mean, Teixeira ate him really good in that one, and he looks like a durable guy, but Derrick Lewis could shut the lights off on him or rock him and then finish him. So I think Derrick Lewis is a very live underdog, but at the end of the day, man, I don't know where he is in terms of his mindset, how he's going to look coming in here physically and mentally, like I just said. So I just think Teixeira is going to catch him in the first round. I think someone's getting put out in the first round here because Teixeira is going to come forward, be aggressive, and Derrick Lewis is going to be waiting for him to come forward and trying to catch him with something as he comes in and knocks him out. So who's going to land first, or who's going to land heavier and cleaner, and who's going to want it more? Leaning towards Teixeira, man. I like to pick Derrick Lewis, and I've picked him and gotten it right, and it's a huge underdog positions for Derrick Lewis, but this one I can't go with them. I'm going to say Teixeira, and I'm going to say Teixeira via first round knockout. So there you have it, guys. It's a full card breakdown and predictions video for UFC Nashville. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you liked it. If you can, comment down below. Put down who you like in the main event, who's your most confident pick, what you agree, what you disagree the most with my predictions, and then like the video, man. And if you want access to extra content, if you want access to my betting packages, if you want access to different breakdowns from other promotions, go to patreon.com/PredictionGuru. You can get a free trial. You could sign up now and check that out. So I'd really appreciate anyone that goes over there, checks that out, helps keep the channel going, keeps the channel growing, and keeps these videos coming out. And then finally, just before I go, I am going to be doing a live stream on Friday with Fitz, so come check that out, man. Join the live stream, engage with us. We'll give a little bit more bets. We're going to give some free bets. We're going to talk about, some plays for you guys, some props, some parlays. So if you're into that, come check that out on Friday. It's going to be, I believe, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And yeah, man, besides that, appreciate everyone that watched the video. And for the play of the week, it's going to be Gabriel Bonfim to win inside the distance. You can get it at -110 currently. And yeah, man, for my most confident pick, I mean, all the big favorites are probably my most confident with Fatima Klein, Mike Davis. But I'll say my most confident pick on the card, obviously I like Bonfim, and then I'll say Chris Curtis as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and peace out.